Will there be a face-off? Face-off primarily because these leaders don't have a common opinion about most of the things which impact everyone from New York to New Delhi. With camera person Surendra and engineer Hukum Singh, Siddhant Sibbal, DD News, Hamburg, Germany.
Well, for more on this story, we're joined by our correspondent Siddhant Sibbal from Hamburg on this. Siddhant, it's the annual summit of global leaders, but purely talking in terms of the first time that Trump meets Putin as well as the world leaders on a big stage. What's in store? Is it going to be a stormy affair, or do you believe that things are very much under control?
Well, stormy is the best word to be used for this summit, because this summit is vastly different affairs from the rest of the G20 we have seen, because this summit is the entire things are different, the entire the variables are different this time around. This time around, we have a new US president. This is his first G20 summit. We have a president who has been changing policies, who has withdrawn America from the Paris summit, Paris climate change agreement. And of course, there are other things also. The crisis in Gulf region, Qatar versus Saudi Arabia, the crisis in North Korea, the overall protectionism that's creeping into the entire economic system, with more and more countries coming up with barriers. So these are the concerns which are overshadowing the entire thing. But these are overarching things which will be discussed. But if I can briefly tell you, the minor details on various issues will be the fact that terror will be a main focus, in which India will try to form a consensus on the CCIT, or Comprehensive Convention on Terror. That calls for a common definition on terror, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his various visits across the world, has been calling for this CCIT to be adopted. So India will be strongly focusing on that. And right now, as we speak, the Brics informal meet is currently underway, just a few meters away from where I'm standing. So that meeting will obviously focus on the issue of terror. And in past few years, if we look at the global situation, whether it's Europe, whether it's South Asia, there have been major terror attacks. In Europe, we saw Paris attacks, we saw major attacks in France. In South Asia, we have seen major attacks in Afghanistan. Kabul saw a major attack in the diplomatic area, killing almost 150 people, worse since the American invasion in 2001 in Afghanistan. So these are the global concerns, and of course, terror. When we talk about terror, we cannot stop, but we have to talk about a country in South Asia which is primarily responsible for all the activities, whether it's London, whether it's Kabul, and obviously India has been calling for the kind of isolation of that country. So that will be focused. But G20 right now is a totally divided affair, totally different affair when we compare it to various different G20s which we have seen over the past few years. Well, previously we have seen G20s with the entire affair was choreographed, but this time around the communique has also not been decided till now. The negotiations of communique are still going, especially on the issue of climate change, and this is expected that when the final communique comes, it will have the views which will be divergent, and it will show a divided world right now. And talking about division, this time around, the main focus is also on various bilaterals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be having 8 bilaterals. Today, his bilateral will happen with the Prime Minister of Japan and the Canadian Prime Minister. And Japan has been a close partner of India, focusing on various flagship programs such as Make in India, Smart India, and we remember those images from Varanasi where both the Prime Ministers went for the Ganga Aarti. So these are the bilaterals, and of course other bilaterals are also expected. And talking about global bilaterals, the biggest will be between the President of the United States and the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. This is important because there have been obviously allegations which FBI is investigating into the Russian involvement into the hacking of the 2016 US elections. So that will be a thing which world will be watching. But meanwhile, across the city, there have been protests. The newspapers are full of stories of protests. Yesterday night itself, when we were coming back, we saw protests happening, window panes being broken. Well, there was a report of some police person also being injured in the protest. So, Hamburg has a history of left. It's considered as a left bastion, and of course, these people have been protesting against G20 and against global capitalism. Bang outside this venue, there is a big board saying G20 must respect the rule of law. So this is the current situation, and of course, newspapers talking about the print media have been covering all the newspapers since past 2 or 3 days. All the print media have been focusing on the bilateral between Russian president and the US president, and of course the bilateral between the host German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the US president. Yesterday, the White House came out with a readout because that bilateral was the first thing which happened yesterday, and it's the first picture of front page picture of almost all the German newspapers. Well, the bilateral focused on Ukraine. It focused on Syria and the situation in Gulf. So these were the issues which were discussed between bilaterals between both the leaders. Remember, Merkel and Trump do not share very positive vibes. Remember those shots when Merkel went to White House? He didn't shook hands with her. So this time around the meeting was cordial from the body language at least. But we will have to wait and watch for tomorrow when the final communique comes. Will there be a division, or will the world come together to solve the major crises such as Syria and the crisis in the Gulf?
Well, Siddhant, at this point in time, just take a deep breath. At this point of time, let's listen into what the Prime Minister said in the Brics meeting there on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Let's listen.
आतंकवाद का पश्चिम एशिया में फैलाव, एशियाई तथा यूरोपीय समाजों की सुरक्षा को इससे खतरा तथा अफगानिस्तान पर इसका बढ़ता प्रकोप एक गंभीर संकट है। गल्फ तथा पश्चिम एशिया में तथा नॉर्थ कोरिया को लेकर पूर्वी एशिया में बढ़ती हुई जियो पॉलिटिकल टेंशन चिंता का विषय है। सौभाग्यवश वैश्विक आर्थिक ग्रोथ में सुधार नजर आ रहा है। भारत की स्वयं की अर्थव्यवस्था तेजी से आगे बढ़ रही है। इस वर्ष जीडीपी ग्रोथ 7% से अधिक होने की संभावना है। भारत का रिफॉर्म एजेंडा लगातार आगे बढ़ रहा है। पिछले सप्ताह लागू हुआ गुड्स एंड सर्विस टैक्स भारत के पिछले 70 साल के इतिहास का सबसे बड़ा टैक्स रिफॉर्म है। इससे बिजनेसेस को मदद मिलेगी, जीडीपी का विस्तार होगा तथा 1.3 बिलियन लोगों की एक यूनिफाइड मार्केट बनेगी। एक्सेलेंसीज, विश्व भर में ब्रिक्स स्थिरता, रिफॉर्म, प्रगति तथा उत्तम गवर्नेंस की एक सशक्त आवाज है। हमारे द्वारा लिए गए निर्णय वैश्विक परिप्रेक्ष्य को प्रभावित करते हैं। इस कारण हमारे एजेंडा को ब्रिक्स द्वारा स्पष्ट कार्रवाई जरूरी है। इसमें शामिल है वैश्विक आर्थिक रिकवरी को सस्टेन करने के लिए हमारा एक साथ काम करना, डब्ल्यूटीओ में केंद्रित एक फ्री तथा ओपन ट्रेडिंग रिजिम को हमारा समर्थन, ग्रोइंग प्रोटेक्शनलिज्म के प्रति खास तौर पर नॉलेज, टेक्नोलॉजी तथा स्किल प्रोफेशनल्स की वैश्विक मूवमेंट पर रिस्ट्रिक्शंस के खिलाफ सांझी आवाज, क्लाइमेट चेंज तथा आतंकवाद जैसी प्राथमिकताओं पर ब्रिक्स के नेतृत्व की आवश्यकता है। पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के अंतर्गत सहमति को इंप्लीमेंट करना अनिवार्य है। भारत क्लाइमेट एग्रीमेंट को लेटर तथा स्पिरिट में इंप्लीमेंट करेगा। हमें इंश्योर करना होगा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वित्तीय संस्थाएं विश्व के मौजूदा आर्थिक बैलेंस को पूरी तरह